Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. We are pleased to be joined by, yesterday's winner in USF Pro 2000, and of course the current points leader of that series, Myles Rowe of Paps Racing. How's it going, buddy?
Good, man. Pleasure to be here as always.
And of course, you drive the 99 car out there. So how exciting is it to come off a pretty interesting weekend? I know race one didn't, you were leading, and I know it didn't end up the way that you wanted to, but you really bounced back yesterday and got the big win. So just kind of take me through your weekend.
Yeah, the weekend was really cool, man. I mean, Toronto, I love. So I live in New York City, and it's about an hour and 15, hour and a half flight, super short flight to get to Toronto. So it's like I make a loop and go back into New York because you land and it's just all these, high rises and everything. All these different people with all this different fashion and everything. It's a really cool city with a really cool vibe. So naturally, I feel like I'm more in a place where it's like home. When I go to places like Ohio and Wisconsin and stuff, it definitely does not feel like home, and I don't feel as comfortable as I do in places like Toronto and St. Petersburg. So already entered the weekend and, on a good note. And I'm really confident on street courses. St. Petersburg, we always do very well. So yeah, we came out the gate pretty well in practice with the 5th place, and then qualifying for us was extraordinary. I had one of my best qualifying stints ever. I was like 6 tenths ahead in P1 for my first qualifying, and then my second qualifying, I also got a P1. I don't think I've done that before. I don't think I've booked out P1 in 2 qualifyings for a whole weekend before. So that was like a really good achievement for me. First race was really good. We led a good 75% of the race until it rained. And then when it rained, we switched onto rains, made a little bit of a misjudgment and outbraked myself into the heaviest braking zone on the track. So I had to click reverse real quick. Luckily, I engaged it really fast, so I fell back from 1st to 7th. It could have been really bad because it was off of a restart, so everyone was jumbled up together. But we recovered. We actually fell back to 8th, but luckily got up to 7th, so got a little extra points out of that. But it was okay. I learned a lot from that. The misjudgment came from, thinking negatively, fearful, people are going to be faster, fearful I was going to lose the race, et cetera, et cetera. Talk to my engineer and, learning to switch that mindset to more positive thinking, learning to be confident that you're going to be fast enough, be confident that you will win, be confident that even if you don't win, you will still be okay. And that will lead to less misjudgments in the future. So it was a good learning lesson for me. And then, slept on it that night and came back, starting in pole position for the second race, and led every lap of that race and won with close to a 5-second lead. Was nice because I got to cruise and enjoy the street. Didn't have to worry too much about the car behind me and keeping pace, and could kind of just learn to enjoy the driving for a little bit, as the end of the season is approaching. So after that weekend, we made up 17 points on our 64-point lead. So now we have 81 points, which is really good for us because we're close to being about 3 races clear, having that cushion for the championship coming into these last 5 races into Texas at Circuit of the Americas, and then Portland, Oregon. So yeah, it was a decent weekend in terms of learning experience and just pure joy. It was a great weekend. My family was there. My mom and dad couldn't make it because unfortunately my granddad passed that week. So it was really cool to win that race on Sunday. Give them a lot of hope and joy and love, a little bit of a balance towards the week for my mom. And yeah, it was a real blessed week for me because I was able to increase that championship lead, give more hope to the team, more momentum, more hope for my family, friends, and yeah, so I'm in a really good spot right now, heading into this break, going into Texas.
Yeah, of course. And of course, condolences out to your family, of course, from everyone. No problem. Going into this, this break, you have until the last week of August. Of course, you're going to be at COTA. That's, of course, also where USF Juniors is actually going to have their championship race. What's it going to be like going out there? Potentially, you could, and you have a possibility of clinching the championship at COTA in just about under when we get there in the last week of August. So and then it's like the next two, you got two races in a row, you got a bit of a break. And then, as I said, Coda, and then of course, the season finale races at Portland. So, knowing how last year went for you and how you were so close, just kind of talk about like what it's like this year, what's that going to be like, and heading into these next two.
Yeah, with last year, I mean, we even went into Portland with a decent, cushion on us. But everything that went wrong went wrong in Portland. One of those things. So all three races were bad. First two were bad. We thought the third race was going to be okay. Right on the first lap, coming out of the second corner, got hit, ruined the championship. So that was a big hit mentally, as I'm feeling it now this year, because everything that could happen it has a possibility of happening. Not that it will, but it has a possibility. So the cushion, and the whole team knows this. My family knows this. It's really good to keep on pulling out this lead, because it's showing that, first of all, I do have the skill in order to maintain a lead, and not only maintain but increase the lead as the season goes on. Because going into Portland, it was kind of staying pretty stagnant for a little bit. Little increases there, little decreases here. But this year it's just been increasing and increasing. But at the same time, mentally, it's been very stressful and exhausting, because with how last year happened, that any race, could be that race that kind of flips that switch and, kind of sends things the other way. And so managing that mentally and making sure when I get in the car, everything's clear, and I, make the right actions in the car to make sure that we don't have a repeat of what happened last year, has been extremely crucial towards dominating this year. And it's been working out, especially after Toronto's done now. Now we can officially say we're in the end of the season with 5 races to go. So it's been playing out really well for us. And yeah, I can clinch it now before Portland. I have to have 99 points technically in order to clinch it. I'm at 81. I need 18 more points above second. This last weekend, I got 17 points above second, so it's possible. We just got to keep pushing and, come with the same exact mentality we have been all year. Don't change the script, and everything will be just fine.
The team, and overall, I think just Pabst Racing is just having one of those years where, they could walk away with both the USF championships. Obviously, with USF Pro 2000 and USF 2000, because of how Simon's been performing. And it kind of is a little bit of just how the team's been performing, but Simon's on a little bit of a path that you were on a little
yeah.
here. Of course, I know it's widely known that, I know he's had, there could have been some races where he didn't know that he was racing. And then yet again, they found a way to do it. I know you were in that similar situation last year. So what's it be like if this team goes and gets this championships, and what do you feel like you guys have to do on both series to get it done?
Yeah, we are gonna get it done, man. Simon has a little bit of a bigger lead than I did going into Portland, first of all, so that's gonna help him a lot. I think just having, especially at such a recent example of disastrous championships, chaotic championships like last year, especially in that one weekend which he's coming up to. I think there's a good example to learn from for him to make the correct moves. I think Simon is going to be just fine. If anything, he's going to increase his lead. Simon is definitely going to take this championship. I'm definitely going to take this championship. And Augie Pabst is going to be the happiest team owner in all of America for a couple of days. He's going to be feeling really good.
The confidence is high among you guys, because also you guys know what can go wrong in the last championship weekend, and you know that, speaking from experience. Does that help going into these last few weeks for you and overall the team, knowing that now you have to be on it every race, because it can go away just like that?
Yeah, man. it's so weird. I mean, right after, that last race in Portland, saying what I'm about to say, just obviously just I couldn't imagine it at that moment, but it's always like, take a moment and reflect. And I'm so glad that that happened because first of all, if I were to choose whether I was going to win the USF 2000 or USF Pro 2000 championship, it'd be USF Pro 2000 first of all. Second of all, there was no better time to make the mistakes that I did than at that time. I'm so glad that I made those mistakes now because I will take that with me until I just can't race a car anymore. That will follow me forever because that was also the first the first national championship I was fully in contention for. I'm never going to be in a championship and forget those moments. Those will follow me to the end of my career and will shape my career. And it was essential for me. And it played a part in this championship. It's one reason why I'm dominating now. It's one reason why I didn't have as many DNFs as other people this year. It really has shaped me mentally to drive a certain way and have a certain characteristic of how I drive on track and how I collect points and how I just think and process information when I'm driving. And like I said, Simon didn't personally do that and experience that, but he has the footage. He has me, he has Augie, he has Burke, our engineer, who went through all of that. And so he has already the example of what not to do. So he just knows that he can do the opposite. And it's going to be all positive. Like I said, that learning lessons of changing the script. It's not about don't do this and don't do that. We know to tell Simon, you are going to do this. You're going to be confident and do this. You're going to be confident and keep the car clean. You're going to be confident and set fast slaps. Everything's going to be fine. That is in our control. And it'll play out the way it's supposed to play out. But yeah, we're going to take it home, man.
All right. Myles Rowe, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us. And best of luck at COTA next month and Portland next month. And we'll definitely have you on again sometime.
Thank you, Casey. Appreciate this.